Whoever lets himself be led by the heart will never lose his way. Hey everyone, Yoistin here, and I hope you all are doing well, wherever you are under the sun. Today we are looking at some of the main ideas and basics of Egyptian mythology, including some of its creation story, the notable gods, and the overall conflict that drives the creation and initial mythology of the world, according to Egyptian myth. Thank you all for joining me today. Let's begin our tale. Just like the floods of the Nile, which gave way to the fertile lands of growth in Egypt, so too is it said that the world and its most primordial god originated from nothingness, darkness, and lifeless waters, those of new or none, which is depicted also as a god at times. But from this nothingness came Benben, the first stone to rise from the waters, as well as the sun god, or at least the sun god in his original form, Ra, Amun, Atum, or Atum-Ra. Now, it is worth mentioning that there are several different creation myths in Egyptian mythology, as some even say that Atum created himself by his own thought, or by saying his own name, or emerged from a flower or egg, but ultimately we have him at the pinnacle god. We will say in our video here that he and Ra are one and the same, because at different times in mythology, the gods actually can merge, or something like that. Now, Ra is one of the most powerful gods in Egyptian mythology, if not the most ultimate, for he carries or is the sun, something those in Egypt held in high value as the force of light and life. Ra is also the name of a really good band from the 2000s, so check them out. From the light of Ra came other primordial gods: Shu, god of the air; Tefnut, the goddess of rain, water, and moisture, something quite essential for preserving life, especially in the desert of Egypt. We continue then, as from them came Geb, the deity of earth, and Nut, the goddess of the sky. Their father Shu separated them, allowing for life in the world. Now, in Egyptian mythology in particular, there are tons of gods. But to simplify this as an overview and introduction to the mythology, the most important gods we will discuss today came somewhere down the family tree from these primordial gods and goddesses. Osiris, the king of the dead; Isis, his sister and wife, the goddess of magic, and mother of kings and pharaohs; their brother Set or Seth, the god of deserts, violence, storms, disorder; and finally, Horus, the son of Osiris and Isis, who we'll come back to. I should also mention that these gods in Egyptian mythology are certainly portrayed differently than most gods in other mythologies. Most of these gods have different animal heads for their own, all for their own reasons, I'm sure, but I thought I would mention it. Now, either from Ra himself, the primordial gods, their descendants, our main gods that I just mentioned, or all of them together, humans came to be, leaving out the other, less central gods aside for this video. The lord of the world, at least materially, was Osiris, the king over humans, and Isis their queen, while a jealous Set, their brother, looked on. Ra had a journey of his own to make, while his descendants ruled more closely to the mortal world. He would fly upon his bark, a ship through the sky as the sun, taking 3 different forms throughout the day. In the morning, Ra emerged from the Duat, the underworld, as the aspect of Khepra or Khepri, the scarab-faced god of renewal. After this, depending on the version, around midday or evening, Ra became Atum-Ra, his most powerful and vibrant self, as that was when the sun seems strongest. Finally, at evening or sunset, Ra becomes Khnum, and descends into the underworld once more to fight the serpent of chaos, Apophis or Apep. At times, he would even need the aid of Set, at least after Set's eventual defeat, as we will see, as Set has a villainous arc in his most famous story. But not here, as even after his defeat, he would be needed by Ra to help defend him during the night. All gods had their place in all things, according to this mythology, even the supposed evil ones. Let's go back to Osiris. After a time, Set became so jealous of his brother that he slew him and scattered his body across Egypt. Isis would, through her magic, retrieve most of these pieces of Osiris and create the rest of him through that magic, at least enough for him and her to conceive a child, before Osiris more or less left the world finally and became the god of the underworld. Isis hid from Set as he ruled the world unjustly, and gave birth to her son Horus. Horus was born to be the avenging sun, the one to overthrow Set and restore Mut, or balance, to the world. And so it came to pass that Horus grew strong enough to challenge his uncle, the god of disorder and the tyrant of Egypt, and they fought many fierce battles and contests as different animals and others in humanoid form on land, water, and in the heavens. There are also many strange stories here, including a contest to see who could hold their breath longer, ending up with Horus beheading his mother who tried to help him, who was later restored by Ra, or a ship contest to race ships of stone, and by painting a wooden ship white, Horus outsmarts Set, who actually uses a ship of stone and sinks. There's also other myths that say Horus and Set were somehow brothers, and this definitely feels like brotherly contests of strength. There's also a moment in all of this where Set rips out Horus's left eye, and Thuth, a different god, restores it, and the eye of Horus would then become a magical symbol, a very powerful symbol in Egyptian culture. After all of these trials and battles, and many years, the gods would announce Horus as the victor, exiling Set to the deserts, and Horus would then become the ruler of Egypt for a time. It was said that the pharaohs who came afterwards carried the essence of Horus in them, yet Ra was considered the father of all the pharaohs. And that's why tombs were created in the pyramids for the pharaohs. It was to bring the souls of the pharaohs closer to and among the gods. And so the people of Egypt would live under them, and at times Ra would intervene more directly, and even threaten the world from time to time, being sometimes benevolent and malevolent at other times. Isis would also later attempt to acquire Ra's power for herself, even as he became older, more removed, and perhaps weaker. As for people themselves, they would live their lives somewhere between order or ma'at and chaos, and at the end of their lives after death, they would face Osiris and Anubis in the underworld, and their hearts would be judged against the weight of a feather, the feather of Ma'at, to see if they attempted to find order like Horus in their lives, or walked the old path of Set and disorder. If they maintained Ma'at in their lives, they would be allowed to walk the field of reeds forevermore. Or, if they were too disorderly, every trace of them would be devoured by Ammit. These are the basics and fundamentals of Egyptian mythology, with the end of the world perhaps being the return of Nu, or None, that primordial darkness and nothingness which would reclaim the world. And so we come to the end of our tale. From this story, we see we must try to find some balance between order and disorder ourselves, and pursue Ma'at however we can. Thank you all so much for watching. I'm planning to continue looking at different mythologies and going back and forth between them for smaller stories or characters or so forth, so let me know what you would like to see next. Egyptian mythology is super complex for sure, because so much of it changes between different time periods, traditions, between separate parts of the lands of Egypt, and the papyruses that were found, all being different sources, but it's all very fascinating. I think the Greeks agreed and brought much of it perhaps into their own lore, or at least some of the gods and characters. Anyway, thank you all so much for watching. Hit that like button and share this with a friend if you enjoyed it, and don't forget to subscribe to become a master of mythology. I also wanted to shout out Age of Mythology and Age of Mythology Retold, its newest version. I grew up playing the original game, and if you're interested in this kind of stuff, I'd highly recommend it on Steam. Some of the pictures came from it as well, so yeah, shout out to that. My friends, thank you all for joining me on this adventure. Until the next one.